Does calibrating filament for FDM 3D printers actually make a big difference? 3D printing has become easier than ever to start, but even still, I keep having failures with this legally distinct space orc model. So, I want to see if calibrating my filament can turn this from a failure into a success. And the results were actually quite shocking. And I'm going to show you step by step how you can do the same. I highly recommend downloading and using OrcaSlicer for your FDM 3D prints. It should work with a majority of 3D printers, including the most popular ones available today. From my research, it has the best calibration tests, and it will make following along with this video a lot easier. I'll leave a link in the description. Select your 3D printer with the correct nozzle size. I am going to be calibrating my machine with a 0.2mm nozzle because I am 3D printing miniatures, so I want the absolute best quality from this machine. You will also need to select the filament you are using if it's available. If it is not on the list like the one I am using, then use the generic filament option. The order in which you do these tests is really important because they all affect each other's outcomes as we progress through the steps. So, follow along with me so you do them in the right order. But don't worry, it's actually all really easy and can be done quicker than you think. The first step in getting high quality 3D printed minis is by calibrating the nozzle temperature. So first of all, to calibrate the temperature, we are going to go up here to the calibration button in the top and then select temperature. This will bring up a window where you can choose which type of filament you want to calibrate for and the temperature range. I am going to choose PLA because that is the type of filament I am using and the manufacturer has given a range of 210 to 240 degrees Celsius on the side of the spool. So, to give an accurate test, I am going to go 20 degrees either side of this in my temperature tower. The things to look out for in this test are clean walls, little to no stringing, and good overhangs. In my test, the range of 240 to 245 looks to be the best, with 245 slightly edging out as the walls don't have this weird texture on the curve. The overhangs look good, and while there is a bit of stringing, it isn't huge. If you do find that you have a range of temperatures that look good like mine, then go for the higher end of the range, because the higher temperatures helps with getting stronger layer adhesion and should allow a potentially higher max flow and faster prints. Now we need to open a new project and make sure you do not save or transfer over any of these settings. This is super important. In a new project, I am going to go to my filament settings by clicking here and enter my 245 degrees result into the print temperature box, which is here, and save it with the name of the filament and calibrate it at the end. This is where 95% of people stop, but without the next step, you're still going to run into the same problems because max volumetric speed controls the maximum speed the filament can be pushed through the nozzle before it causes defects. It's the setting that really affects the maximum print speed we can get. So, in OrcaSlicer, I am now going to click calibration again and then select the max flow rate test, and it's safe to just stick with the default test parameters OrcaSlicer gives us. If you are using a 0.4mm nozzle, then you may have to repeat this test with higher values. What we are looking for in this test is basically where it stops looking clean. So, as you can see from the finished print, there is a lot of missing parts of the print, which is basically where the max flow rate exceeded the nozzle's limit. However, once we can see where the defect started, we just have to measure from the bottom of the test to the first defect with some digital calipers or a ruler, which in my case is roughly 18mm. So, now that we have our measurement, we just go back into OrcaSlicer program and click and drag the slider on the right hand side, which is here, and go down to 18mm, and then drag this slider on the bottom and it will tell us the flow, which for me is 14mm per second. This is our maximum flow rate, but we can't use this number because we need a buffer, and from my research there are a few different percentages that people take away from this maximum number, depending on risk tolerance and end goals. I have seen 10% if you want strictly performance, 15% seems to be recommended quite a lot online, or 20% if you want to be safe. One thing I have learned from resin 3D printing thousands of minis is that it's better to be slow and safe than to reprint things. So I will personally be going with 20%, which is 11 cubic millimeters per second, which by the way is way faster than Orca's default of only 1.6 millimeters per second. So now it's time to create a new project again, and remember to not save or transfer anything, just like we done before with the temperature calibration. Again, we click on our filament settings here and scroll down to the very bottom to add the new maximum flow rate, and then update the filament settings by hitting save. However, this next step is arguably one of the two most important steps for beginners to calibrate. But before I tell you them both, let's calibrate the first one. Pressure advance is important because it controls the nozzle pressure during acceleration and deceleration. So let's open a new project and click the calibration button again, and this time choose pressure advance. There are two options for printer nozzle types which you can choose from based on what one your printer comes with. If you're not sure, then do a quick Google search now, but my printer, like a majority made today, uses the direct drive extruder. After my research for a 0.2mm nozzle, the pressure advanced line test seems to be the better of the three. If you are using a 0.4mm nozzle, I recommend using the PA pattern because it is the better option, and the method of checking is the same principle. The settings we will need to change for the PA line test is the value in end PA, and we change it to 0.5, and the PA steps to 0.025. And make sure the print numbers checkbox is ticked. If you are using the PA pattern for your 0.4mm nozzle, then just keep the default settings. So what we are looking for in this test is where the lines become too thin or too thick. To be able to read the test, we have to leave it on the build plate, and after watching a video from the YouTuber Dungeons and Derps where I learned about this test, I picked up this tip of using a Q-tip to pull at the lines and pick out the weak ones more easily. Dungeons and Derps is one of the most respected members of the 3D printing community, so I'll leave a link to his channel down below along with his Reddit post that started me down this rabbit hole. But from pulling my Q-tip on the test, my results look like 0.2 is the best option. So open a new project and remember not to save any settings, and go back into the filament settings and scroll down to here and enable pressure advance. And this is where I will enter my 0.2 number in the box, and then click save to update the filament. Now, our filament is almost fully calibrated, but this next step is the second most important one for beginners that will directly affect the quality of the print. This step is for flow ratio, which calibrates the filament to give the exact line width. This is important because if your settings have a 0.12mm line width, then if your printer is under extruding, it could end up measuring 0.08mm, or if it's over extruding, it could be 0.16mm, which of course will affect the print quality. So to do this important test, we open up a new project again. Now we go back up to the calibration button again and choose flow ratio. There are a few different tests to choose from, but in my research, Orca Slicer's YOLO recommended is the better one to start with, because although there is a perfectionist option, perfect is the enemy of progress. A success in this test is the one that looks the smoothest from the outside going in. So there should be no signs of over extrusion, which is where the filament is being squeezed together, or under extrusion, which is gaps between the lines. The middle ring can be showing, but with this filament, I find it kind of hard to tell because of how shiny it is. For my tests, I actually have two numbers which look good, so I'm going to go between minus 0.2 and minus 0.3, which means my result for this test is minus 0.25. In Orca Slicer, we open up a new project again and go into our filament profile and down to flow ratio and add or subtract our number to the flow ratio, which is already populated here. So because mine was minus 0.25, I'm going to subtract that from 0.99, which gives me the value of 0.955. However, the last calibration test is overlooked by most people, even though it affects the quality of your 3D print when there are gaps in your 3D printable model, which for tabletop minis, there is quite a lot of. The retraction test is how far the filament is pulled back between start and end lines if there are any gaps. So go up into calibration for the final time and choose the retraction test option. If your 3D printer is a direct drive, then you can just use the default settings. The thing we are looking for in this test is the first set of rings with no blobs or stringing and the seam is still visible. Now we open up Orcheslicer once again and go to the preview window and click here to select the show code symbol. Now this mini window will open up and we will have to click and drag the slider on the right down until we reach our first successful ring. This right here will show the retraction distance for what that ring was. So now we go into filament settings again, go to system override, and then change the retraction length to our new number. While I 3D print out the calibrated model to check if this all worked, if you want to join the Brotherhood and get in contact with like-minded people about 3D printing, then join my Patreon today and get access to possibly the best Discord this side of the multiverse. So this is what my 3D printed model looked like after 2 attempts, a failed mess. And this is how it came out with the filament calibrated. A big difference, because I now don't have any failures, and the best thing is that these calibration tests can all be done in a couple of hours. I am so excited to see how far I can push these FDM 3D printers for miniatures, because not too long ago I 3D printed a model worth $2,000, but it wasn't so miniature, which you should watch next. As always, I just want to give a huge thanks to all my Patreons and channel members, because without your support, none of this would be possible, and I'll see you all in the Discord.